Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Global Arena. Today I'm discussing where US and China will clash after this plague. When Mr. Trump became president, he took different steps through which he could maintain the status of America as a superpower. When he became president, he took number of big steps such as moving out from Trans-Pacific Partnership, ban on some Muslim countries, Mexican wall, and he also started trade war with China. With this war, number of Chinese imports came under tremendous pressure. Now, world is facing the wrath of coronavirus. Every country is facing consequences of this outbreak with slow economic growth, and world is moving towards recession. What will happen once we left this pandemic behind? Where US China will clash after this plague? All this will be discussed in this video. Southeast Asia will face more pressure than ever to take superpower sides when the pandemic finally passes. The USA and China are expected to fight for influence in ASEAN region in the new post-pandemic order. COVID-19 pandemic is increasing rivalry between the United States and China. It seems that they will exercise their power in ASEAN region, a region that has been a strategic force for superpower, the center of tension in rival economic strategies. On one hand, China has strived to position itself as a global leader in a time of crisis, pursuing a campaign of face mask diplomacy. And on the other hand, USA President Mr. Donald Trump administration's widely viewed as inept, incompetent response to the pandemic, both domestically and internationally has shown crucial doubts about American leadership. As America failed to work with allies and adversaries to increase a credible and effective global response to health emergency, now both USA and China transferring blame to each other, as earlier Chinese spokesperson at one point alleging that US military planted virus in China, and Trump administration referring COVID-19 as Chinese virus. Now all these tension putting Southeast Asia on a new age, a region is struggling to contain its own outbreak of the disease. Now I am discussing Chinese stance over ASEAN. In recent weeks, China has aimed to score diplomatic points in ASEAN through the provision of medical supplies to Philippines, Laos and Thailand. Now is what I think in this crucial time, Beijing directly or indirectly influencing their future policies when it comes to China. Indeed, if post-pandemic order gives rise to a zero-sum superpower contest for a global leadership, diplomatic efforts will likely to intensify to enlist ASEAN countries to their competing visions for the strategic region's future. Now I am discussing US stance over ASEAN. To counter Chinese $1 trillion BRI global infrastructure building program, USA came with free and open Indo-Pacific strategy deploys governance and economic programs focused on catalyzing private investment in infrastructure projects in the Indo-Pacific region. Like Indo-Pacific region is recently adopted a strategic concept which is advanced by Mr. Trump that envisions that Indian and Pacific Ocean as a single strategic theater, which intentionally minimizing the regional centrality of China. Like USA made alliances in this region such as Quad, LEMOA, BICA, COMCASA to challenge the rise of China. Like Quad is alliance among major maritime powers projecting naval capabilities to curb Beijing's rising assertive in maritime areas like in South China Sea. Now I am discussing aftermath of Trump's initiative. According to some experts, the Trump administration has disengaged from the region, including through insufficiency in top-level diplomacy. According to some observers, Trump has notably failed to take off in Southeast Asia. Like prior to the COVID-19, Trump begged away from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, multilateral trade pact signed by Obama administration to exclude China from US-centric order. Ties have been strained by the absence of USA leaders at ASEAN annual summit. Now I am discussing response from ASEAN. Critiques of Trump's strategy, including from the Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, have opposed Washington's use of unilateral tariff to address trade imbalance and attempt to pressure countries to choose sides between the two superpowers, thereby splitting the region into rival US and China aligned bloc. ASEAN countries simply won't sign up to US initiatives that seek to compete with China and turn Southeast Asia into primary arena of Sino-US competition. There is a risk if America pushes Southeast Asian countries too far vis-a-vis its competition with China, it will alienate those countries. According to the Malcolm Cook, a senior fellow at ISEA's Yusuf Ishaq Institute, Singapore, the biggest problem with Trump administration and Southeast Asia is that the White House and State Department are absent or much less engaged. The Department of Defense and State Department and White House each run their own engagement strategies with Southeast Asia. The Department of Defense has done much better job than White House and State under Trump administration, making the US posture look very defense oriented, said by Cook. Now question is that with whom they will further strengthen their ties and do partnership. So to answer this, ASEAN is an economic club and they are likely to stay politically neutral and economically inclined towards China. Chances of direct war are still less, but the conflict would sharpen more and the ASEAN countries would face more pressure to decide their sides. When it comes to their economies, they will incline towards China. They would try this option at priority for sure because China's growth was double and very fast before this COVID-19. So I hope you find this video quite informative. Like and share, and thanks for watching.